Gopi Channa Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Channa Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Channa Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Rachachanaranja Yashodanandana Rachachanaranja Rachachanaranja Yashodanandana Rachachanaranja Yamuna Tirana Chari Yamuna Tirana Chari Yamuna Tirana Chari Yamuna Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Vishnupat Paramahamsa Parirajacharya Swami Krishna A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Granta Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Anante Koti Vaishnava ki. Sri Sambhuritis, Sri Sambhuritis, all Sri Sambhuritis, all Sri Shishi Guru and Guru. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Jaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Javidare Nashta Praishvabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhaktinashike. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 29, Text 70. Naham mameti bhavoyam. Naham mameti bhavoham yam. Purushe vyavadiyate. Purushe vyavadiyate. Yavad buddhi manokshata. Yavad buddhi manokshata. Guna vyuho hi anadimam. Guna vyuho hi anadimam. Naham mameti bhavayam. Purushe vyavadiyate. Yavad buddhi manokshartam. Guna vyuho hyanadimam.
Nahamameti bhavoyam.
Nahamameti bhavoyam.
Purushe vyavadiyate.
Purushe vyavadiyate.
Yavad buddhi manokshata.
Yavad buddhi manokshata.
Guna vyuho hi anadimam.
Guna vyuho hyanadimam.
Naham mameti bhavoyam.
Naham mameti bhavoyam.
Purushe vyadhyayate.
Purushe vyavadiyate.
Yavat buddhi manokashtra.
Yavat buddhi manokshata.
Guna vyuho hi anadhiyam.
Guna vyuho hyanadimam. Naham mameti bhavoyam.
Purushe vyavadiyate.
Purushe vyavadiyate.
Yavad buddhi manokshata.
Yavad buddhi manokshata.
Guna vyuho hyanadimam.
Guna vyuho hyanadimam. Word by word. Na. Not. Aham. I. Mama. Mine. Iti. Thus. Bhavaha. Consciousness. I am this. Purushe. In the living entity. Vyavadiyate. Is separated. Yavad. So long. Buddhi. Intelligence. Manaha, mind. Aksha, senses. Artha, sense objects. Guna, of the material qualities. Vyuha, a manifestation. He, certainly. Anadiman, the subtle body, existing since time immemorial. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. As long as there exists the subtle material body composed of intelligence, mind, senses, sense objects, and the reactions of material qualities, the consciousness of false identification and its relative objective, the gross body, exists as well. Translation. The desires in the subtle body of mind, intelligence, and ego cannot be fulfilled without the gross body, composed of material elements, earth, water, air, fire, and ether. When the gross material body is not manifest, the living entity cannot factually act in the modes of material nature. In this verse, it is clearly explained that the subtle activities of the mind and intelligence continue due to the sufferings and enjoyments of the living entity's subtle body. The consciousness of material identification, such as I and mine, still continues because such consciousness has been extant from time immemorial. However, when one transfers to the spiritual world by virtue of understanding Krishna consciousness, the actions and reactions of both gross and subtle bodies do no longer bother the spiritual soul. Omagyanativedandasya vinanjana shalakaya chakshuram militam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Namo Vistam Stadvitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaiva cha Puritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vashyatyati Shatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Text again. As long as there exists the subtle material body composed of intelligence, mind, senses, and sense objects, and the reactions of the material qualities, the consciousness of false identification and its relative objective, the gross body, exists as well. So this is a continuation of these descriptions, mainly on the role of the mind and how transmigration of the soul takes place. And here we find information about the subtle body and gross body and how they relate. So here it says, as long there is a subtle body and there is the reactions of the material qualities, like the influence of the gunas, and the consciousness of false identification, and there is also the gross body will exist as well. And I like to read also Sri Vishnu Thakur's translation and purport to get a more deeper understanding as well. So Sri Vishnu Thakur says, the connection with the gross body expressed through me and mine does not cease for the jiva as long as the beginningless subtle body composed of intelligence, mind, senses, objects continues to exist. So a little bit different translation of the Sanskrit. But it basically, as long there is a connection between the gross body, which is an expression of me and mine, like, as long as this ahankar, this false identification, that's me, this is mine, as long as this false ego is there, then this gross body, the gross body will not cease, will not end to exist as long there is a subtle body continues. And it's interesting because the gross bodies, we'll quit gross bodies. Like whenever we get this body is limited. There's like when you buy something, there is a Ablaufsdatum. It says it's you should use it by this and this date, because afterward it gets spoiled. So even this material body also has a expiry date. You say, right? At some point it's over. And as a conditioned soul who has been traveling and wandering in the cycle of birth and death, we have accepted and rejected or quitted so many bodies in the past. And as we are informed, all different species of life we have gone through. But the subtle body always remained. The subtle body is always there. It's because the jiva, the soul, conditioned soul, is entrapped in the subtle body, and through the subtle body, the journey is continuing. Only the gross body is changing all the time. Because, this material world is temporary, and the manifestations in this world are temporary. And also according to the consciousness, because the subtle body changes according to the influence of the three gunas and the desires that are developed, and the ahankar, the false ego, and then there is always a new material body manifested according to the consciousness of the subtle body. So Srila Vishnu Chandra Thakur explains in his purport, because the subtle body is not destroyed when the gross body is destroyed, one cannot say that there is another doer or another enjoyer in each life. No, it's always the same person, right? Although we may have many different lives, but it's always the same person who goes through the different experiences. And the other day we spoke about how Srila Prabhupada called this the nonsensical stage performance, right? Like, because every life is like going on a stage, performing some role, playing a role, and then again the curtain closes and death comes and we have to give up that body and take a new body. And again we have our roles. So although we may play different roles, and although there may be many gross bodies, but the person, we're always the same person, and we're always in that subtle body, which is, changing according to our identifications. There is another doubt. Through the gross body, the subtle body acts as a doer and enjoyer, but the subtle body never acts alone. In the absence of gross body, the jiva no longer is a doer, he should then get liberation. So one could argue, okay, the jiva uses, the subtle body uses the gross body to enjoy and act. So when the gross body dies, then the jiva should be free, because there is no gross body that binds. But this is not true. For the jiva, the connection with the gross body, the condition of me and mine, is not cut as long as the subtle body, a transformation of gunas in the form of intelligence and mind, senses and sense objects continuously exists. When did this start? That subtle body does not have a known time of beginning, anadimam. So, because that wrong identification of I and mine, basically because the ahankar, the ego, is still there, the jiva is not liberated, but will have to take another gross body. And this subtle body, like the jiva, is entrapped in the subtle body for how long? Anadi man, for since time immemorial. We cannot really say how long, because for many, many, many lifetimes, you are already bound up. So, of course, in many places in the scriptures we find this description of how the soul passes from one body to the next, but also in the Gita itself we find these descriptions. Of course, in the second chapter there is description, but also in the 15 chapters. You know this famous shloka, Mavaivam shochivi loke chiva bhuta sanatana manasasthani indriyani prakriti sthani karshati. That the living entity in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. That's one aspect of the shloka. Mavaivam sho chivi loke. That the jivas, Krishna says, the jivas are all my eternal parts. But what do these jiva do? Mana sasthani indriyani prakriti sthani karshati. Karshati means struggling hard. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. And then the next text it says, the living entity in the material world carries his different conception of life from one body to another, as the air carries aromas. Thus he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another. And this is a nice analogy which Krishna gives, no? Because the air maybe passes through we have nice roses. I mean, it's not now, but in the summer, there's a nice flower garden. So we may be taking prasadam, and then there comes some air, and then comes a nice smell of roses. But the same air, if someone on the street passes by and smokes, then that smoke is also passed by the air, and we may feel disturbed. So it's the air who just carries that aroma. So similarly, the subtle body just carries the different conceptions of life, the different desires, the different combination of material conditioning. From one body to the next, it's carried to the next body. Prabhupada says, here the living entity is described as Ishvara, the controller of his own body. If he likes, he can change his body to a higher grade, and if he likes, he can move to a lower class. Minute independence there. The change his body undergoes depends on him. At the time of death, the concept consciousness he has created will carry him on to the next type of body. If he has made his consciousness like that of a cat or a dog, he is sure to change to a cat's or dog's body. And if he has fixed his consciousness on godly qualities, he will change into the form of a demigod. And if he is in Krishna consciousness, he will be transferred to the Krishna Loka in the spiritual world and will associate with Krishna. It is a false claim that after the annihilation of this body everything is finished. The individual soul is transmigrating from one body to another, and his present body and present activities are the background of his next body. One gets a different body according to karma, and he has to quit this body in due course. It is stated here that the subtle body, which carries the conception of the next body, develops another body in the next life. This process of transmigration from one body to another and struggling while in the body is called karshati, or struggle for existence. So it's interesting, it's a struggle for existence. Because sometimes people don't really, not sometimes, actually Krishna himself says that in the next shloka, then the foolish cannot understand how the living entity can quit his body. The foolish people don't understand the whole principle. And Krishna gives more detail in text 9. The living entity thus, taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, eye, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects. And Prabhupada explains, in other words, if a living entity adulates his consciousness with the qualities of cats and dogs, in his next life he gets a cat or dog body and enjoys. Consciousness is originally pure like water, but if we mix water with a certain color, it changes. Similarly, consciousness is pure, for the spirit soul is pure, but consciousness is changed according to association of the material qualities. And Prabhupada explains that there is 8,400,000 species of life, and we can get all kind of different bodies according to our consciousness. Yeah, but it's karshati, it's a struggle. I remember once I gave a presentation on reincarnation in an inter-religious dialogue, and a nice PowerPoint presentation. There was a picture with two Buddhist monks, and one Buddhist monk, he looked really bad, like very tired, very exhausted. And the other one is asking, "Oh, what's happened to you?" And the other one says, this reincarnation really makes me so tired. Taking birth again and again, I'm tired, It's karshati, it's great suffering actually. And as I said before, sometimes people, they don't understand, even if someone accepts the principle of reincarnation. I remember before I joined the temple, I lived with some kind of hippie or like some friends. We are living together in one house, and they were also spiritually minded people. So then one of my friends said, reincarnation, it's cool, so many opportunities. Next life I will be a bird, I can fly. So that's nice. Why this Hare Krishna, your philosophy is very negative? You're saying life is suffering, but life is full of opportunities. You can enjoy so many different ways. But that's of course there is a lot of opportunities, as we said, 8,400,000 opportunities are there. But it's all mixed with a lot of suffering. It is. Because the soul eternally actually is Satchitananda. The soul is actually full of pleasure and bliss, full of knowledge, and especially full of eternity, and therefore to be, bound up in a temporary situation is very painful for the soul. So, but in the shloka that we read today, we also get some indication on how to overcome this whole situation. Prabhupada says at the end of his purport, however, when one transfers to the spiritual world by the virtue of understanding Krishna consciousness, the action and reactions of both gross and subtle bodies do not longer bother the spiritual soul. So Krishna consciousness is the solution. Of course, we know that. The important thing here is why are we bound by so much, and why is the subtle body continue to exist? Because the material identification of I and mine is very strong. Identification. I am this, and this is mine. And if we are a little bit honest and reflect, we can see, even as practicing devotees, we still have so many identifications, and very, consider ourselves to be someone, and identify with a certain role that we play, and we are very much attached to the things that we possess. This is mine. This is my iPhone. This is mine. It's very easily that we get attached to things. So, and that's actually the problem. As a devotee, we are meant to become more and more free from this conception, because otherwise, that cycle of birth and death will continue. So the jiva, the conditioned soul, has developed so many I-ness and my-ness, we can say, or so many ideas for I'm. So we may think, this is just a list of some examples. We may think, I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm a human being, I'm a demigod, I'm a king, I'm a brahmana, I'm a chandala, I'm hungry, I'm sick, I'm a master, I'm a husband, I'm a wife, I'm a father, I'm a son, I'm a daughter, I'm an enemy, I'm a friend, I'm a pandit, I'm a murkha, I'm a foolish, I'm wealthy, I'm poor, I'm sukhi, happy, I'm dukhi, I'm distressed, I'm a hero, I'm weak, and so on, and so on, and so on. So many I. You know, whenever we say I, then there is this identification of what I am, who I am. Besides that, there is also myness. My home, my world, my body, my son, my daughter, my wife, my husband, my father, my mother, my strength, my bodily feature, my caste, my knowledge, my activity, my material assets, my property, my followers. So many types of I and my. Janyasya voham yaham aham memeti. These varieties of I and my are all samsara, the material world. These conceptions of I and mine are not true in respect to the jiva. They are all material designations. And as long as we still identify with all these material identifications, it becomes very difficult to actually truly become Krishna conscious. And basically, there is, there is certain activities in this material world that increase our wrong identification, and there is activities that decrease or help us to lose these wrong identifications. Can you think of some activity which might be entangling the soul further into this conception of I and mine? Any suggestions? Can you think of some activities that entangle you more into the conception of I and mine?
Every new role you play.
Every new role you play, yes. Yeah, certainly. Especially if you get some position, some power. It's very easily to identify with some responsibility, the power that you get. Oh, now I'm in charge, now I'm supervising this and that. Like that, yes. Of course, and if you get something, if you become rich, this is my possession, this is my house. Yeah. Bhagavatam makes this point. I mean, it's well known. Lord Rishabdev's instruction: Pungsastriyam mityumi bhavametam tayor mituridhaya grantimahu atagriya kshetra subda vitaya janasya moho yamaham ameti. This was quoted before. The attraction between male and female is the basic principle of material existence. On this basis of this misconception, which ties together the hearts of the male and female, one becomes attracted to his body, home, property, children, relatives, and wealth. In this way, one increases life's illusions and sinks in terms of I and mine. So, Bhagavatam describes that especially the attraction between male and female is the basic principle of material existence, and it's described here as hridhaya vrantim, that it kind of creates a knot in the heart, and one becomes strongly attached to each other, and then griya kshetra vitaya, everything else comes from there. And Srila Prabhupada says in his purport, sex serves as a natural attraction between man and woman, and when they are married, the relationship becomes more involved. Due to the entangling relationship between man and woman, there is a sense of illusion whereby one thinks, this is my husband, this is my wife. This is called hridhaya granti, the heart knot in the heart. This knot is very difficult to undo, even though a man and woman separate either for the principle of varnashram or simply to get a divorce. In any case, the man always thinks of the woman, and the woman always thinks of the man. Thus a person becomes materially attached to family, property and children, and so on. Then Prabhupada quotes, sometimes it's found among exalted personalities like Lord Brahma that the wife and children are not cause of bondage. On the contrary, the wife actually helps further spiritual life and liberation. So that's also there, no? Like that's the idea of the grihas, the ashram. Ashram means a place of shelter, and it's a spiritual ashram. So if man and woman come together in Krishna consciousness, then if they do it properly, then that ashram can become a great source of spiritual strength, by which they together practice Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada says, nonetheless, most people are bound by the knots of material relationship, and consequently they forget their relationship with Krishna. And still, it's always said that even as devotees, there is a chance that one develops that attachment. And of course, that's a whole big issue in itself, because there was a lot of misconception in the history of the Hare Krishna movement. When we speak of attachment, Shiva should have affection, right? Like there should be affection and love in the family. Attachment in that sense is something else. But nevertheless, this is what Bhagavatam says about identification of I and mine, and we know, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he sings in his Sharanagati songs that I've given up all the misconception of I and mine, whatever I could call as mine, whatever I can call as I have given up. Today I understand that this is not my house, this is not my wife, this is not my children, this is not my possession, but it all belongs to you. And my only identification is that I am a servant of Krishna, I'm a servant of my wife, I'm a servant of my children. And in this way, the proper consciousness is established. Like I think there is a story of Krishna Premarupa Dasa. One person approached him, and Krishna could understand that this person had a misconception of married life. So he told him that every morning when you get up, you should pay obeisance to your wife and take her remnants. She's Krishna Dasi, and you are her servant. In the sense of course, the husband is meant to maintain the family, but the vision should be that they are Krishna Dasi, and I'm meant to take care of them. So the beautiful, the powerful aspect of Bhakti Yoga is that by performing Bhakti Yoga, one will be helped to become released from wrong conceptions. Sarvabhadi vidyam muktam tad paradvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesham zevanam bhakti ruchyate. That bhakti means to engage one's senses in the service of the Lord, and when one is doing so, then there will be two side effects. That one is that one will be free from all the upadis, one will be free from all the wrong identifications. So the whole list that we just read before, I'm man, I'm woman, I'm strong, I'm weak, I'm rich, I'm poor, this is mine. All these misconceptions, if we properly practice bhakti, then that should kind of go more and more. And we become more kind of detached from the material identification and material possessions. And at the same time, of course, the senses becomes purified and the true spiritual senses are awakened. So that's the process of bhakti, that the senses get purified and we become free from the wrong identifications. But in order to do so, what do we need to do? We have to hear Krishna Katha. We have to hear from bona fide spiritual master, ideally. And by hearing by Krishna Katha, then more and more our true identity actually is awakened. That we remember our true identity as Krishna's servant. And that's the duty of the spiritual master. The spiritual master is meant to change our consciousness from I am the enjoyer and everything is meant for me, for my enjoyment, and I'm the controller, into the consciousness of I'm Krishna Das. That's why he gives us a spiritual name with at the end, Dasa, Dasi. So that's the spiritual master's, that's his mission, to help us change our consciousness. And we know, Srimata Sakrata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Ridanto Stoya Vidavani Vidinoti Sarutsutam, that when we develop that Srimata, that urge to hear, then actually the Lord Himself within the heart will cleanse us from all the abhadrani, the unwanted things in the heart. So we must listen Krishna Katha, and that listening will help us to get rid of our anarthas. And then anugatya, that means true or full bhakti, will arise in our hearts. So this is why Shravana is the root cause of bhakti. Bhakti can actually be awakened in the heart by Shravana, by hearing. So when we listen, then we can chant nicely. When we listen, then we know how to behave as a bhakta, and we know what it means to be a devotee of Krishna, and we behave nicely. And when we listen, we can also preach. Those who have listened, they will be able to say something, speak something. So who has listened, Krishna Katha, he is a shishya, he is a proper disciple. And those who have not listened, they actually cannot claim to be disciples. They cannot really say that I'm a disciple or I'm a devotee. If you don't listen, then what kind of devotee you are? And how to listen? One first needs to surrender. That's a strong statement. But the point is that we should submissively tatvidi pranipadina padi prashnena seveyo. That we should submissively approach a spiritual master and listen from him and inquire in a humble spirit. So those who listen, they know how to surrender, and where there is Shravanam, there is naturally also surrender. And where there is surrender, there is also Shravanam. That's kind of, they are going together. If someone is listening regularly and attentively and submissively, he will understand, and he will also develop that desire, that need. Yes, his consciousness will awaken. Yes, I'm a servant of Krishna. I want to again serve Krishna. So only by hearing can we get Krishna. Bhakti amam abhijanati yavanyas jasmitatataha. Okay, it says by bhakti. No, the shloka says not Shravana mam abhijanati. It says bhakti amam. But how to develop bhakti unless you listen? Shravanam kirtanam Vishnu smaranam. That's the beginning. We need to hear. That's the beginning of devotion. So there is Shravanam, hearing, and there is Shastriya, discipline, and there is Netra, eyes. That means by hearing Krishna Katha, then we develop the Shastriya Netra, the eyes of discipline. That means when we hear, we learn, we develop that inner discipline, and we know how to see the world, how to act in the world. And one who listens, his eyes are disciplined, all his senses become controlled, basically. So the eyes do not go for material vision. Those who have listened, they have discipline. The ears are also regulated. When we listen, then through the ears, we can understand and see things as they are. There is, in the Bhagavatam, we have this, in the 11th canto, this shloka, where the human body is compared to a boat, right? The material world is like an ocean, and then the human body is like a boat by which we can cross the ocean of material existence, and the favorable winds are Krishna's mercy. And then there's a captain on the boat. And who is the captain? The spiritual master. And the word that is used for the spiritual master in this shloka is karna dharam. And karna means ear. That means Guru is one who can pull our ears. That's the idea. The spiritual master is one who gives discipline. He tells us, no, don't do this, do like this. No, what are you doing? That's the spiritual master. So by hearing, and that's the point when we hear Krishna Katha, then we become disciplined, but because we understand what is right, what is wrong. He's also known as Krishna Premarupa, that means he's a lover of Krishna. So if we hear from spiritual master, we develop faith and we develop a desire to have more sadhusanga. So sadhusanga and faith, that shraddha, is developed through hearing. Of course, we should hear from someone who is an acharya. Acharya in the sense of someone who practices what he talks also. Because the spiritual master, he practices and we follow, and by following him, we understand sadachara, what is the proper conduct. And without proper conduct, no one can actually preach. Apani kari mu bhakta bhava angi kari apani achari bhakti sikari mu save. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself said, I shall accept the role of a devotee and I shall teach devotional service by practicing it myself. Because unless one is practicing it oneself, one cannot actually teach. What kind of teaching is it if you say something but you do something else? So, if someone practices it in his daily life and preaches, then people will accept. Therefore, we have to listen from someone who actually also practice what he says. And by that hearing, we develop faith, because without faith, surrender will not be possible. Right? The goal is to surrender to Krishna. Sarvadharma parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. But that cannot be possible without faith. So one cannot submit oneself. So in order to submit, we have to develop faith. And Sharanagati is within Shraddha. Surrender is there within faith. And therefore, the symptom of Shraddha is that one surrenders. And basically the idea is that one has to merge his desire with the desire of Guru. We sing every day that Guru Mukha Atma Vakya Sidete Kuriya Vakya. That the words coming from the spiritual master, his lotus mouth, we make these words one in our heart, and that's the idea of Sharanagati, that we develop a strong desire to please the spiritual master, and the spiritual master's mission becomes our mission, and we develop the desire to serve the spiritual master and his mission. And that service will then give pleasure to Krishna and to Guru. That desire to actually give happiness to Krishna. And that's bhakti. That's what bhakti means. That we want to please Krishna, Guru and Krishna. So this desire to develop this desire to give happiness to Krishna, we have to hear Krishna Katha. This is the process. By hearing, by associating in the association of sadhus, then that desire will more and more be awakened in our heart. Yeah, there could be much more we could say, but I think we'll leave it here. So, in today's shloka we heard about how I'll read the text again. As long as there exists a subtle body, material body, composed of intelligence, mind, senses and sense objects, and the reactions of material qualities, the consciousness of false identification, and its relative objective, the gross body exists as well. So that I read the other translation. Let me see here. The connection with the gross body, expressed through me and mine, does not cease for the jiva as long as the beginningless subtle body, composed of intelligence, mind, senses, and sense object, continues to exist. So basically, as long, although the gross body changes all the time, but the subtle body remain, and the subtle body will continue to exist as it already existed since time immemorial, as long we maintain this ahankar, I, mine, that's who I am, that's mine. And Bhakti Yoga is a very powerful process, because through Bhakti we remember our original identity is reawakened. We remember, oh, actually I'm a servant of Krishna, I'm not this body, I'm a spiritual soul, I'm a servant of Krishna. And by that awakening of identification, through identification, then one can give up, and one actually can become free from the bondage. Otherwise it will be very, very difficult. Hare Krishna. These are some thoughts. Any comments, questions? Yes?
Does everyone with a false ego, or is everyone with a false ego a demon? Because in the 16th chapter, Krishna says, Ishvaroham Aham Bhogi, also I'm the controller, I'm the enjoyer, I'm happy. So just as you said with the...
Yeah. Okay, is everyone a demon who has this conception? In some way you can say yes, in the sense that the material world, what is the material world? Durga is a prison house. Who remains in the prison house? Criminals, right? I mean, okay, there is some guards also there, and someone has to manage the buildings and so on. But those who actually live in the prison, these are criminals. And so in that sense, whoever comes to the material world, yes, is a prison. You know Mahadhyuti Swami? He used to come regularly. He once, I never forget this, he said, whoever came to the material world, actually they have a sign around their neck. A big sign. You know, sometimes you see people walking around in the streets making some advertisement, saying something on it. So, and what was there written on this sign? I'm full number one. I'm full number one. Because the fact that you're here, it means you did something wrong. The fact that we're in the material world, it means we are criminals. It means we have turned away from Krishna. So in that sense, you could say, yeah, that's everyone. But Krishna also explains in that same 16 chapters that there is two kinds of living entities, and there is those who accept Vedas and follow the instruction given by the Lord, and those who don't. Those who don't, and those who just don't know. You know. Of course, there's many people who are just innocent. They just don't know about the laws, and then they kind of fall into that category. But those who actually know the laws of God and who follow the laws of God, they are Sura, they are divine by nature. Yeah. But when we know the laws of nature and we become Deva, then of course the problem is we still maintain this I and mine conception, and this is dangerous because then we again we are still bound up. So a true devotee, Vaishnava, is someone who understands I'm Krishna's servant, I'm the servant of the Vaishnavas. That's the only identification that he actually maintains. And everything else, all the other roles he plays, it's just service, just part of the service. But it's not that's me, you know. Does it make sense? Yeah. Any questions, comments? Everything clear? Good. Very good. Okay, nothing.
Comment about the ahankara, false ego. This is the more strong thing that entangle the soul in the body in this material world. I am this, I am that. I am more intelligent than you in everything that I am the best. And the fame and prestige is are things that it's too much interrogate, it's too much difficult. And I was sit Greater China. One time in this TV show program asked to Paul McCartney was a big fan in this historical moment. Asked about the fame to him, and he gave a very interesting answer. He says that sometimes he sit down on the sofa in front of TV with a sandwich. And in this moment he can see that on the corner, in distance, this is very important to take a distance of a false ego, but for do this only with knowledge, jnana and curiosity, yes, with mercy of Krishna, but take a distance. And he have that person that is very, very famous on the corner, and to me personally, it's like I'm the childhood in Liverpool. And this is the verse 13 of the second chapter, yes. Have the board, yes, in different ways. But we are the observator. It's very important, the devotee.
Yeah, that's a...
Remember this, yes?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Take
distance, taking some distance, yeah. Yeah, that's kind of, we can take this as our homework. We can try to observe ourselves, and whenever during the day, whenever this ego comes up of I'm this, I'm that, that's mine, as devotees we should learn to catch ourselves doing that, catching our ego, how the ego is kind of identified with a certain role, develop some pride and develop some attachment to some possession. So we should learn to observe ourselves and then take this and understand, no, that's not me, that's actually not mine. It's a constant process. And yeah, of course, the more we develop attachment to Krishna, the more we immerse ourselves in devotional service, then that will be a natural consequence also. Yes, it's an adventurous journey that we are on, spiritual life. Okay, thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Vaishnavi Namo.
Wie geht es auf einmal?
So 10 Minuten.
Ja, so schon für alles.
Ich werde schon wieder viel.
Ich liebe schon wieder viel. Gehst du schon in die Schule?
Also niemand, der ist schon die erste Klasse.
Oh, schon.
Oh, das ist ja Tatsache. Das ist 5
Jahre her oder so, was bin ich da wechseln.
das monatlich. Krass, aber das kann es wahrscheinlich. Ja, ein bisschen kommt jetzt dann Grenz geben.
Ja, da sieht man. Alle fühlt sich so, als ob es einmal will mit den alten Zeiten festhalten und dass die Zeit fortschreitet, denke ich, oh nein. Ob das doch einfach streitig ist. Also je älter das ich werde, umso mehr merke ich, das ist das Blessing. Das tut einfach viel. Es steht wieder auch in diesem Fall. Heißt das, dass alle schon rein sind, im Sinne von, dass sie gerade die rechte Beziehung zurückkommen zu Krishna? Nein. Aber wenn man die Bibel das und der Vers im 11. Kanto ist sicher auch schon begegnet. Südavadita, das gar nicht. Dass ein Geleiter von Krishna kann auch passieren, dass ab und zu noch ein bisschen stolper merkt. Aber eine grosse Entschlossenheit trotzdem zu Krishna. Und bereit, also halt immer nicht so ganz geben im Moment. Aber bleibt einfach dran. Und dann ist es gut. Das ist noch zweimal das ist mit Krishna Premarupa Dasa. Im Süden Frankreich hat es Retreat gehabt. Und dann ist mit Krishna Premarupa gefahren. Das ist eben tatsächlich mit so gefragt, wie kann das sein? Wir sind alle noch so bedingt. Warum soll Krishna irgendeinen Wunsch haben, sich uns anzunehmen, oder so? So störrisch sind die ganze Zeit. Und hat ihm von John Brook gesagt, Krishna ist mein Vater, der 2 Kinder hat. Ein Kind ist schon ein bisschen älter und so 7, 8 und 9 oder das so. Und eins ist noch ganz klein, man kann kaum laufen, dann noch irgendwann. Und wenn der Vater zurückkommt, dann beide, oh Papi! Und das Ältere ist halt schon, du kannst schon rennen, oder? Das rennt elegant auf den Vater zu. Und das Kleine, oh Papi! Steht auf und kaum ist es aufgestanden und bumm, gehst du wieder rum und sagt, nein, Papi! Und hat die Hose voll unsägliche Sachen, oder die Bremse voll unsägliche Sachen und so. Und der Papi sagt, hey Mann, der probiert es. Er kann, aber er probiert es. Und es ist voll, fremd auf sein Kind zu machen. So, das ist meine Situation.
Genau, ja. Stabil.
Ich kann auch früh ganz morgen mal Tag sein. Das ist gut.
Macht das noch so?
Das ist heute der ganze Tag.
Okay.
Aber schön, es ist inspirierend für mich auch zu sehen, wie du so regelmäßig jetzt kommst.
Weißt du, was ich wieder mache? Also, ich praktiziere schon auch die Heim, aber es ist halt etwas anderes.
Ja, klar.
Kann ich ein bisschen Verbindung haben. Und es tut gut, wenn du die Nase einfach einen Tag, wo du dort einfach nur kannst chanten. Sonst ist es vermisst. Ja. Und keine Ahnung. Ich glaube, ich habe weiter.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Darum geht es dir also so gut. Wenn du dich an den kümmerst. Also, gut, viel besser als noch vor nicht allzu langer Zeit. Du warst bitte.